Hey y'all, I wanted to shoot this video as I attempt this do-it-yourself project. Drummers out there, if you've been a headlining band and you are backlining your kit and you have a logo resonant head like this, you know, a couple of things. Sometimes maybe the other bands that are opening, you don't want newcomers to the gig, audience members to think that this logo is the band that's playing before you. Or also, you know, maybe from my point of view, it's more like I'd like to give them a break not having that logo showing while they're playing. I'd rather have it covered up out of respect for what they're trying to do by creating music and gathering fans and so on and so forth. So, you know, I know there's a lot of products out there where you can do kind of a stick-on piece and so on and so forth for your logo. But I'm trying to do something that's not going to cost me very much money, that can cover up this logo while the other bands play, and then make it easy enough to pull off before my set starts, so that my band's logo is showing as we start. So I had a bunch of ideas about maybe taking some spandex or lycra type material and stretching it around the outside with bungee cord, you know, all sorts of variations. But I had to take into consideration I've got a mic hole here that I need the mic to get through whatever's on the outside here. So my next thought was possibly using like an older batter head that I had for this kit, and then incorporating that somehow on the front of here that I can just pull off. And I thought maybe sticking it on with putty or something that was temporary. But the other idea is I don't want to affect the tone of this resonant by putting anything on there to deaden it. So anywho, I'm still in the midst of trying to figure out how to do this, and I just wanted to start this video with this info. And so what I'm going to do is take the old logo head that came with this Gretsch kit and cut the rim off so I have just the plastic part of the head left. And I'm thinking of cutting holes where all of the hardware is here, the clamps, and putting grommets on the holes, and then using some bungee cord, some thin bungee cord and hooks to go through the grommet and then hook on the hardware here, so on each piece, so it would kind of sit outside the head, it wouldn't touch the interior, and also have a hole here for the mic to get through. So to try not to affect the tone at all, but also cover the logo, so you know, I want to present it when I want to present it and not for the other opening band. Okay, so I started the process. I cut the rim with a razor blade. I cut the rim right where, as close as I could get it, all the way around the outside, kind of using the rim as a guide with my fingers to try to keep it as even as possible. So I'm left with just the plastic part of the bass drum resonant head. This particular one had an inside deadening ring, but it just fell off once I cut it because it was glued to the inside of the metal part of the rim. I laid this inside here like that, lined up the hole, okay, and then I took a Sharpie and marked a line where all of the hardware was, so I knew where to make my hole. You can get a grommet kit which comes with a bunch of these two-piece grommets, the base part, a cutting tool, and the plunger that locks the grommet together. I got it at a hardware, so you can get it at any hardware store for like, I don't know, it's like $6. And it comes with, I don't know, at least 20 or 30 of these things. Then I took the grommet and I kind of laid it on here where I thought was enough meat left so it wouldn't tear as it applies pressure there. And measured in about how far that was to the center of that circle, and it turned out to be 5/8. So then what I did was I took my ruler, laid it down and at 5/8, and then used set the cutting tool, which has just got like a sharp edge and a dull edge, and just hit it with a hammer. I set it at the center of 5/8, and then you just whack it with a hammer. They give you a little piece of wood to go underneath. Definitely, I tried this on a cutting board on my countertop. It's just too springy. Need something hard underneath, so I went out to the garage and used the cement, and it cuts great, and so does the grommet tool. And you can feel when you hammer that grommet in there. I don't know if you ever done grommets before, but you hammer that thing in there, you can feel the thing kind of seat in and stop moving, and that's when you know you got it solid, so it doesn't jingle. So anywho, I've already done 3. And I've got number 4 hole done, and so what I'm going to do is finish all the grommets and then work from there. And the idea is that this will sit outside with the this bungee cord right here. I bought some just bulk bungee at the same hardware store. Went to Home Depot actually, and the idea is there'll be a loop with a hook, like so. So it should rest up above the head. At least I hope it does. We'll see. This could be a really bad how-to video. Do it yourself. So the idea is that the bungee goes through the hole, and then I'll tie it and burn it so it stays, and then put a hook here, like so. Well, you can't really see that here. Like a hook, so I can just unhook it or hook it as I need to. These are the hooks I bought to use to hook the bungee on, and I didn't want to take the chance of marring the finish on my kick drum, so I bought this stuff called Dip, and it's basically this plastic kind of coating stuff you can dip your tools in, like you see here, and coat the handles of your tools. So what I'm going to do is, once I have this and make sure it works, I'm going to take the bungee cord with the hook on it and dip the whole thing in the Dip so that it's then covered with this rubber coating so it won't mar the finish on the bass drum. Okay, so I started the process of attaching the bungees to the grommets, which I finished doing. And I essentially wanted to loop with the hook on here. Unfortunately, you can't get both sides of this bungee through the hole on this hook. So I was forced to come through, do a knot, and then tie a knot into the grommet. And so now what I'm going to do, I have 2 of them done here, opposite sides. And what I'm going to do now is finish the rest. So I'm cutting these all to 5 inches. And you tie a knot in one end. Try to get it down as far towards the end as you can before you really snug it up. Okay. Then slip the hook on. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. Slip the hook on. Make sure it doesn't slip through. I don't think there's going to be, it's not holding any weight, so I'm not worried about the knot slipping through so much. You take a lighter and melt the ends so the frays don't fray. Never mind that lovely meth lab smell. So that's how I'm making the bungee, basically cutting, putting a knot and burning, and then I'm just tying a knot in the grommet, just by eye, I'm not measuring. So I'm cranking that down and then double knotting. Nice and tight. Then I'm going to cut off the excess, leave about a 1/4 inch. And then burn the tip. Don't be out of fuel. Really? Yeah, great do-it-yourself video, Bill. Anywho, burn this tip. Okay, so all the bungees are tied on, and I have it mounted on there, and so this is basically what it's going to look like. It's not like super pretty, but you know, I'm assuming from 6 to 8 feet away in a small venue. You know, and most of the time you're going to be playing in the evening, unless you're doing festivals and, you know, maybe a daytime gig, but, you know, again, you might even be farther away. You should, I don't think from the point of the viewer, listener, that it's going to be anything that's an eyesore. It's not super pretty, but it seems to me it does the job. It hides the logo. The band's logo, and it's pretty easy to install. You know, for a do-it-yourself project, I think it wasn't too terrible, and it looks like it might work pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and set the kick drum back up and see if there's any kind of rattle or see how it does when I start using as intended. Okay, so maybe some of you are watching this video are thinking, you know, I know that's going to rattle and sound like crap, so it's not going to work. Well, I'm always optimistic, hence I try stuff even though there's a chance it may not work. But yeah, it sounded like crap. What's happening is the sound waves are hitting this outside head, and it's just making it's just a flutter. I'll show you. You should be able to hear this. Yeah, it almost sounds like I have my resonant head not even tight. So yeah, some transient noise that's not too good. So the one last ditch effort I'm going to do is I had some of this material I bought at a fabric store that I recovered a speaker with. I had some left over, so what I did was I cut the hole right there, and what I'm going to do is spray glue the back of this, and then I'm going to adhere it on the inside of this cover I've made and see if that gets rid of that nasty sound, if it deadens it enough. So we'll see. Okay, so I got the piece spray glued on there. So I'll reinstall it and see what happens. Actually, I'll leave this on. You can watch me put it on. So something like that, I guess. Let's see. Here we go. Winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay. There's a little bit of transient noise. Not sure if that's the plastic or the, yeah. So I might have to trim some of this that's touching the drum here. That might help, let's see. Okay, so what I'm doing here now is, when I first cut the rim off this head, I might cut it right to the edge of where the metal touches the plastic. So there's kind of this lip that naturally curls down. You can kind of see it here a little bit, or maybe you can't. Probably not with the camera. Anywho, where this where the drum head curves and goes inside of the metal ring, that curve is still there. So what was happening is that curve is just resting against the wooden rim of the bass drum and rattling every time I kick. So I'm cutting that back so that there's this gap now. And the only place that touches the drum is the bungee cord. And hopefully that'll help. We'll see. Okay, so cut away all of the parts on that head that curve in from touching from where it was manufactured onto the metal rim part. So I cut all those away, so basically it's the only thing touching the rim is the bungee cord. Let's see if I can, somehow you can see this, but there's a big gap here now where it sits up above. And so the head isn't touching this drum anymore. Hopefully that will get rid of that slight little buzz when I kicked it, because it was rattling. So let's see. Alright, that's it. It's working good. So, points to remember. Definitely cut that head so it's inside the part that curves in, to give yourself that space. It needs to not touch the outside. You know, maybe an engineer or somebody would have thought of that. I'm just figuring it out as I go. And definitely gonna need to mute the inside of that head with something. I spray glued some felt in there, and that got rid of any sound that made. So there it is. It's not super pretty, you know, because it's not tight, but it does hide the bass drum logo, and definitely makes it nice on the opening bands. If you're the headliner and you're backlining your kit, makes it nice for them and not have to see your logo on the drum set they're playing when they play. So cool. I have a gig Saturday and I'm going to try it out and hopefully it works. Peace.